Mizerable Mets podcast. Back at it again with the crew. Mizzy and Dame. How we doing?
Um, we all right.
It's
We all right. I don't know what else to say.
been up and down.
Yeah.
It's the day after, it's Monday, June 10th, the day after the London series, which was what a emotional roller coaster that was. Is the quintessential, it was a nice, it was, even though it was only two games, it perfectly encapsulated what the Mets are pretty much across the board. Unpredictable, have fighting them randomly, have the potential to beat good teams, but oftentimes just blow it. Uh, it was, I mean, a lot of good and a lot of bad. I mean, the pitching, starting pitching, both pitchers couldn't even make it out of the fifth inning. Uh, Relief. I mean, I can't even harp on the relief too much because the relievers are going in there throwing 5, 6 innings every game. It seems like, and when we hit well, we don't pitch well. When we pitch well, we don't hit well. It's literally the same thing every single year. How do you feel about the team right now after that series, and the fact that we're 4-1 out of the last five?
I think it was cool that, kind of all eyes on the Mets because, being in London and all that, it was pretty cool that we at least didn't make a complete fool of ourselves, at least in the second game. But to be honest, I'm not going to say I'm numb, but at the same time, I'm kind of relieved. I'm kind of relieved on the fact that now I think realistically you're starting to see what it's going to end up being the end game for this season. We kind of, I guess, speculated earlier in the year with, having a new GM or president, whatever, Stearns, that it might be a season where we're going to probably compete for the playoffs or kind of just start molding out what his plan is for the future. And the more that we see this team play, week in and week out, I think you're starting to realize that, realistically, yeah, we're still with 3 games back from the playoff spot, but we're going to probably end up being sellers. So it's kind of like one of those, rip the Band-Aid spots. And I think it's starting to become more clear that we're going to probably end up just saying goodbye to quite a amount of big names. And we're going to end up probably seeing a lot of young players come up, which is pretty cool to me because I think, and you probably could attest to this, it's nice when you let players like that are young come up and get experience, especially, not just on a September call. So I'm a realist, man. It's nice that we're, still somewhat competitive, but to be honest, the way this season has become, I think you'd be naive to think that we're going to be somewhat of anything of a competitor.
Yeah, it was definitely up and down weekend. It was really infuriating to see the way that the first game went with Marte playing. I mean, in all fairness, a lot of the outfielders, infielders had issues with that stadium. That white roofing around the edging of the stadium was really just not good for fly balls. You saw Bohm really blow that foul ball that McNeil hit. That ended up, costing them because he ended up getting a hit after that. So it did happen on both sides. It probably affected Marte's play there, but it doesn't help when you see him lackadaisical going after the ball. If he was sprinting after it and dove and missed it, that'd be different. Or even if he was just sprinting and then came up short, it would be different. But I think they were all very cautious playing on that field, especially with how the ball would bounce, which was like a trampoline. So it's really, really frustrating because that game blew wide open, and I feel like that could have easily been a very close, winnable game. But it just after that inning, I mean, we were done. Second game, you saw the Mets fight, which was really encouraging. They could have very easily just laid down and taken the loss and gone home miserable, and probably just really tanked. But they came back from 3 runs down. They came back from 1 run down, and they pulled out a win that was they pulled out a win that they would usually give up. Like usually they lose games the way they won that, with Alvarado just blowing it, walking batters, hitting batters, letting up weak hits. We really got lucky there. There's no other way to say it. We got lucky, and Alvarado seems to not do all that well against us. You usually get one or the other. He's either dominant or walks everybody. He's very Jay Reese Familia esque. So I always love seeing him come in because I, 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 I think he sucks. So it was nice to go out on that high note with that play at the end of the game with Torrens, who's really been a godsend these last 2 weeks that he's been given a chance to play. Because Narvaez was really, really brutal to watch defensively, offensively, just everything. He just didn't do anything right. So it's amazing to see someone like that, who's not really expected to be anything or anyone, really has provided a boost to this team. And I think the only way the Mets end up doing well in the future, or this year at least, is like you said, just bringing in new blood. They got to get some of that old cancerous kind of vibes or negativity out of that clubhouse. Bring in some new voices, new leadership, new perspectives. Because you know, we've been seeing you don't need a superstar to change the dynamic of a team. You got Torrens and you got Iglesias playing second base, and we're winning games with them in the lineup. It's so nice to see.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that are you with me in agreement that is already kind of set in stone that most likely Alonso, McNeil, most likely JD, they're gone. I think it, I think it'd be asinine. I think to consider keeping at least Alonso and McNeil because for the future, what they're going to probably end up costing, and then also just because the cancer you mentioned, one of them at least is McNeil, because you sit a guy and it's not a coincidence that a career minor leaguer comes up and he sparks the team. And so I think, and also I think when we signed JD, we I think we're in agreement, all of us, that it might be a situation where he's going to be a good piece to move. That's why winning signing him is a win-win situation. So, but I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Just bringing a young blood and kind of finally saying goodbye to I think what was kind of I guess elephant in the room. What are we going to keep Alonso or not? Um, the more you see him play, man, the more you can't justify giving that guy a big deal. At least for us. And the fact that we have this guy running the show now, it's almost like clear as day that all that is going to happen. We're going to end up just finishing up the year. I think with just seeing new faces, maybe a new vibe. I'm still. I don't know how I feel about Mendoza yet. I don't know. They play hard for him, I guess, because we've been slumping and they've still been, I guess, playing hard. But I don't know.
Well, realistically, I have no idea what their plans are, and I don't think they even know what their plans are because it really just boils down to I think these next probably 30 days, and
That's scary.
and they'll have a much better idea of, can they not just squeak into the playoffs, but are they able to be consistent enough where they can win maybe 9 out of 12 games or something like that. Are they capable of that? I don't know. We haven't seen them be consistent enough to do things like that. We've seen them go like, 4 out of the last 5 and then lose 3 in a row, or lose 2 of the next 3, and they take 1 step forward, 2 steps back, pretty much the whole season. Um, I, my question is what is the very smallest milestone that they have to reach in order to not sell? Like, where do they want to be at in the standings to tell to Steve Cohen, hey, we're not going to be selling right now because we think we have a chance? Like, what does that look like? Like, if we're in this situation at the end of July, 3 games out of the third wild card spot, or 4 games out, are they going to be like, all right, we're still in striking distance, we can't sell off, because whether they believe in themselves or they just don't want to take the backlash from the city. I don't know what number is that number where they're like, all right, we're moving Alonso, we're moving McNeil, we're moving JD, all the 1 year signings we did, Mania, Bader, Severino, any relievers, pretty much everyone I think is on the table besides uh, Lindor, Nimmo, and Alvarez, obviously. Um, but I think pretty much everyone else is probably could be traded. And like I said, I don't know what they're looking for in terms of what's going to signal them to wave the white flag and essentially prepare for next year. Um, Realistically, I don't think if the trade deadline was today, I would say trade everyone. I would say just build for next year, because this team isn't it. They don't have, they just don't do a lot of little things correctly, to win in the big spots. Um, they really need to show a lot before July in order to warrant a playoff push. So I don't at this point in time right now, I don't see them being buyers. Um, but 30 days could really change a team. We've seen it with a lot of teams. One month to the next, one a player from 1 month to the next. Look at Aaron Judge. 1 month to the next, you can be batting 350 and then hit 14 home runs. So it's really, you don't know what we can get out of our star players. So it's going to be an interesting next month for sure, because I think this next month will be the timeline that they decide what they're going to do, because I don't think they have way too many players to move to wait until the deadline to start making moves. Like, I think we'll start seeing things around All-Star break, where we'll probably start seeing some things happening.
Yeah. What I think a big part of what might make all that happen is, what's our schedule like? Because if we have, I mean, God, we have to have a softer schedule coming up, because I feel like, and I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses, but our schedule has been brutal. And I think it's a big reason why we've lost so many games. We've just played better teams. And if
Yeah.
we have a,
So no, you're right. No, I was just gonna say, like, our schedule is getting softer
well,
this next month.
well,
Besides the
if
Yankees.
right. Well, if we, well, and Yankees is always a toss up, because you're one's at home, one's over there. It's like home field advantage for both. But that's going to be a big reason if we're gonna. But I said earlier, it's scary, because what if we're going to be a product of an easy schedule, and we go back into like the mix where we're umpteen games over 500, and we're only maybe a few games back from a wild card, or we have a wild card, and what if it's just all smoke, and we end up missing out on getting rid of just a player that we just is not in our in the long term future. So it's scary. I do feel confident. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I do feel confident having someone like Stearns in charge of all this, because if it was Epler, oh my goodness, I'd be very, very scared. I would have no confidence in whatever happened. Even if we ripped off 10 in a row, whatever, I'd be like, this guy's not going to sell nobody. He's going to sign everybody, and then we're going to be stuck with all these players for years to come. So we do have the right man in place to make that decision. He has no ties. He has no loyalty to no one. I like that. So it's a business, and I think he's going to make the right decision to say, hey, these dudes are winning all these games because they're playing, way, the White Sox, or the Marlins or whatever. So let's keep it real. Let's get what we can for what we have, and next year is going to be my first real big first year in charge. So I am very, very hopeful, and at least knowing that he's going to make the right decision and not just kind of be scared to pull the trigger on trading people because we're winning games, because it might happen, like you said, we have a softer schedule. This team is not we're not the White Sox, but at the same time, we're not, I think, a strong enough team where I could think we could get a wild card spot and keep it. I just don't. I don't see it. Even if we get all these wins, maybe with a soft schedule.
Yeah, well, I mean, our schedule coming up is not like the weakest schedule in the league. But just to name off a few of the teams that we're going to be playing, starting with the Marlins, 3 games. We got the Padres, 3 games. Rangers, 3 games. Cubs, 3 games. We got the Yankees for 2. The Astros for 3. And that brings us to the end of June. And then in July, we have the Nationals for 4. And then we go to the Pittsburgh Pirates, and then the Nationals again for 3, and then the Rockies for 3. So I think in that July month, first week, you got 4 against the Nationals, and then 3 more against them the next week, and then 3 more against the Rockies. Like, you can very easily, out of those 10 games, should be able to go 8-2. So what does going 8-2 against those teams do for their standings and their positioning? I think with the other teams that they're playing that are not terrible or pretty solid, like the Rangers and Cubs they're not playing their best, but they are not pushovers. And then you
Padres.
have the Padres are always gives us trouble. The Yankees, are doing extremely well. So I think we have enough good teams mixed into there where we'll be able to know if the wins against bad teams actually mean anything or not. And like I said, we do have enough time before the trade deadline to be able to decipher, all right, by All-Star break, July 15th, are we going to shut the thing down, or are we going to push for the playoffs? So I do like where we're at right now in terms of um, in terms of we'll be able to gather enough information to, I guess, for Stearns to make that decision, because this is the time to do it. You got good and bad teams. You got to do what the Phillies did. You got to beat the bad teams. So this is our chance to beat bad teams and split against the good ones. So I think if they can do that, then that'd be good. That'd be a good confidence boost for this team. And of course, really big piece coming back this week, Francisco Alvarez. We're talking about personality and blood in the dugout or in the clubhouse. I think he brings the best energy to the ball club. As young as he is, he's really a leader for that pitching staff. He's done really well with the pitchers, and he's done really well with the clubhouse. And they just seem to have more fun when he's there. So I'm excited to have him back, or anticipate him coming back this week. Hopefully, maybe even tomorrow. So
Yeah,
um, that will probably spell the end to Nito,
yeah,
at least for now.
yeah. Terens, I think he won a spot. He earned the spot. And it's cool because he's, I don't know if this means anything, but he's Venezuelan like Alvarez is too. So I don't know, maybe they can piggyback off each other. But yeah, Alvarez is our leader, man. Alvarez is the stereotypical catcher, and it's awesome to see someone like that young. I mean, we said it before from the beginning. You knew he was it. He showed it in every aspect, and he has everything you want in a catcher. That's a guy that no matter what, everyone can leave or get traded, but he's going to stay. That's you only get someone like him with his tool set only once every so many seasons. So it is going to be a boost. I forgot the stat, but when he left, I mean, our record without him has been obviously brutal.
Mm-hmm.
He sets the tone, from everything, from framing, from throwing people out. I mean, uh, I gotta, you gotta, I guess, say that runners won't run on him as easy because they know he has a gun. So he could hit. He has swag. That's probably going to be my next jersey I'm going to buy. It's going to be Alvarez jersey because it's we've been waiting for a catcher like him for a long time. So it's good.
Yeah, as long the only thing he really needs to improve on is his consistency at the plate. But I love even when he's not producing with the bat, he is producing on the field or with his energy, bringing uh, just he does things in the field sometimes that really helps the team, even when he's not hitting. So it's too bad for Nito because really Nito did really well
He did
in his
for
time.
Nito. For Nito, he did really good.
Yeah, he would have
Yeah,
random home runs,
yeah,
random doubles. He's solid defensively, but I mean, Terrence is he's been special over these last few games, especially, and I like seeing him back there. So I guess they got to ride the wave right now while he's hot.
yeah.
Um, and same thing with McNeil and Iglesias. Looks like it's going to be interesting to see what Mendoza does when we play when we face a right-handed pitcher and he has to decide if um, if it's going to be McNeil or if it's going to be Iglesias because tomorrow we have a lefty throwing and then the next game we have a lefty throwing. So I'm assuming that Iglesias is going to be playing these next two games at least. Um, and then the third game of that series is against a righty. So I feel like he's going to do two games for Iglesias and one for McNeil. So I don't think we're going to get our answer yet. But it's going to be interesting to see like when we have a series where all three starters are righties. Who gets more playing time. Um, so I hope to see less and less McNeil on the field, even though he had two hits yesterday and was important getting on in that last inning. I he doesn't need to be in there.
No,
you
not
know,
I think he's a one player. He's gone. Can we maybe say this here
I
first?
hope so.
I think he's a one player that's gone, no matter what. I think that with forget his play on the field. I think just what he is in the clubhouse. I mean, it's been how many years now that we've heard, here and there about how he is and how players just don't really vibe with him. I think he is a one player that at least me, I feel like he is gone no matter what. So
Yeah,
I read,
yeah. I mean, we talked about that in December that he needs to go.
yeah,
He's There's nothing about him that I like at all. And if he's not hitting like 320 or above, he doesn't really provide all that much
no,
that other people can can provide. Um, you know, he's a decent utility bench player. Essentially, is what he is.
Yeah. Or who knows? He goes somewhere else and he, goes back to form. And you know what? Good for him, I guess. Well, hopefully we get something for him. But I think I read the Mariners. That's like an early
Mm-hmm.
projection. So he definitely need, I think, a new change of scenery. I guess not everyone can play New York, man. And you know, you, we said it yesterday. I think me and you, when you had drama the first year that Lindor comes in, a Lindor who's an even kill player, and you hear that they fought the way they fought. It's like it's not a coincidence. Something's up, and I think they've tried to be professionals and work through it, but they're sick of him. When he's slumping, he's slamming his helmet like at his first at bat. Like it's just not needed. When everyone is, whether they're playing good or not, they're still the same vibe, same even keel, and he's the one that's acting up. You don't want that. You don't need that. So
Yeah, there's a difference between being a fiery player and then just being kind of a complainer,
yeah,
whiner. And he's definitely more of a complainer.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean we've stressed on this a lot, but I mean I'll stress on that every show until he's gone. I can't stand him.
no,
I
you can't.
can't stand him.
You had you've hated him for a good 2 years now. I think even before he kind of fell back from his batting title. I think you were like, yo, this guy. I don't know something about him is annoying to me. Yeah,
Yeah, we need to do a compilation of our shows and
yeah,
just us saying how much we don't like him and hopefully hopefully Steve Cohen sees it on Twitter or something and he
yeah,
makes a move. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. How about Cohen yesterday? I did like when I saw that. It was a one time where I was like, man, I wish we would have went to London because he was like another fan went to I guess whatever pub everyone was at and he just hung out and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that
You
was
know, like,
awesome.
it gave me spring training vibes.
Yep. Yeah,
You know,
just the billionaire owner just coming in and hanging out
whatever.
with the fans. That's
Yeah,
really awesome.
yeah. You saw what he said? He said that we're gonna be all right. We've been through worse. Which
Yeah.
at first I was like, maybe at first I was like, what the heck? But then I was like, he right. You right.
Yeah, I mean, we've been through worse, and this year, honestly, no one was expecting anything of us.
No,
But
no.
we're just passionate and miserable, and we expect, oh, maybe there is a chance, and then
Yeah,
it's we're in it until the end. But
yeah,
the one thing he did say though, I was like, what the hell? When he was saying that the food in London is better than New York
yeah.
City.
Yo, when he said what he ate, just saying what he ate was disgusting. It was like I don't even know what was it? It was like some sort of sandwich that he dipped it in something. I don't want to
That
butcher it, but
was the dumbest take I
yeah.
think I've ever heard. London, their food, at least the native food, is it has to be the worst.
Yeah.
That no one goes there and thinks, "Oh yeah, the food here is great." Like that's the one knock is the food sucks.
The food, yeah. We I listened to a lot of sports radio, and Tiki Barber, I think, said that when he went to London, he was there for I think Olympic coverage or whatever. He said he was there for like 10 days. He said, not lying, he ate every single day. All he ate was fish and chips because that was the only thing he could stomach. Everything else was like, I mean, the most like bland, like non like variety type of menu you could think of. He said all I ate was fish, chips, and beer every single day. That's all he ate. So
Yeah, that was bad. I question him a lot now. You know
yeah,
that was not good. That was such a terrible take. Like I was offended by that. Really, truly offended.
I have to look it up. He mentioned he talked about what he actually ate, and just hearing that, you're like, how can you say that with this what you just said? Like being from where you're from, probably the capital of the world when it comes to like variety of foods in New York. Like, are you serious? It was gross.
Yeah, I will. forever be offended by that. I don't think
well,
I'll ever. I don't think
especially
I'll
you.
ever get over that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was bad. That was I thought he was kidding.
yeah. Me too. I was like, this food's really good. Psych or not? He was. He
Yeah, I
was.
thought he was
He was.
being sarcastic.
He was dead ass, bro.
Yeah, I forget who was getting interviewed. Actually, the worst guy in the world, Chase Utley, was getting interviewed, and they were asking him about living over there. He was like, "Yeah, the food is kind of sucks, pretty
Yeah,
much." I'm like, "Yeah, well, that makes sense." And then like the next day, you see Cohen talking about the food better in New York. I'm like, "Come on, bro,
yeah.
really?"
Nah. I found a picture of what he ate. It's like toast. It looks like some sort of like
It was a full
art.
English breakfast
Yo,
with
it's like an
beans and
art.
stuff.
Yeah, bro. It's like an artisan bread with like beans on it, and then
Yeah,
you
it's a
dip
full
it,
English
and then you dip it in
breakfast.
soup. Like I don't know if you guys can see this, but look at that.
Yeah, so that's a full English.
That's what is that?
That's an English breakfast. Yeah, they got beans. They got some beans and like toast
Yo,
and yeah,
that's some
it's
that's some jailhouse like inmates eat more better food than that.
that's a full English breakfast. It looks. I watch it. I see that on like some of the shows I watch. I watch some trash TV, but on Below Deck, and sometimes they like ask for that full
That's
English.
just that looks disgusting. I wouldn't.
It looks horrible, and we eat beans all the time, but not that, and not that for breakfast.
Hispanic beans are night and day to whatever that.
Yeah,
That looks like canned. I don't even know what that is, man.
yeah,
That's some
definitely canned
end of the
microwave
world
stuff.
ration like
Hmm.
MRE military grade beans, bro.
Yeah,
And that's what he said was. Now, come on,
yeah.
he might have been trolling. I don't know.
How disrespectful.
He has an office in London, right? His
Yeah,
So I think he was just trying to show face with that because there's no freaking way. No way.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I hope he. I don't know. I have to question his judgment on
Yeah.
everything now.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
was
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. But anyway.
Anywho, yeah.
So
Back to America.
yeah, getting back to it. Francisco Lindor been batting leadoff.
Love it. Love it.
That's been nice. He's been like old Lindor from the leadoff spot.
Love it.
He's get on
Com-
base, hitting for average.
Comfortable. Yep.
He's taken walks. Over his last 15 games, he's batting 333, 391 on base. He has 3 home runs, so he's definitely picked it up. He's batting around like 240 now, which at one point he was like what
Dude.
like barely. He was like 198,
Yeah. Nothing two, one something.
and to bring it up to around 240, which is sad that he's brought it up so much and it's still that low, but um, it looks like he's trending again the same way he usually does,
Yeah.
uh, and we'll start picking up his numbers. The configuration in the lineup has been interesting with Lindor leading off, Alonso second, Nimmo batting third. Uh, I mean, it's been hit or miss, but we have been producing a little bit uh, more runs per game since we've made the change.
I would
The
swap.
only
I would swap Alonso and Nemo. Would you?
Yeah, Nemo's doesn't seem to be. I mean, his numbers over the past 2 weeks aren't terrible, but he I don't know. He's looked either like really bad or will get a hit randomly. But he's had some really bad at bats.
Really bad.
He
Yesterday was
looked
bad.
Yeah, he looked bad. He looked bad these past 2 days.
Yeah.
He did end up getting a hit yesterday, but um, he wasn't looking good before that. So, but nonetheless, the offense has picked it up a bit, and I think a lot of that has to do with Terrence in the bottom of the lineup. Um, what's his name? Iglesias is getting on base, getting hits, walks, and then of course Vientos has been crushing it,
Yeah.
and Marte has been hitting well too.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, Vientos, his numbers for the season so far: 324 average, 388 on base, 980 OPS. He's got 5 home runs and 13 RBIs and just 71 at bats. And his defense has been solid.
Yeah,
Um,
he surprised me.
I mean, it's been better than solid. I think it's been good.
Yeah,
He's been making some great plays.
he's I think Beatty's more stiff. Like he's I think more like fluent with it. I mean, Beatty I think has a stronger arm, but I'll take him being more just loose than Beatty. Even though Beatty I think did step it up a little bit this year with his defense compared to last year, but yeah, 100%. Like right now, you got to give Vientos a vote over Beatty.
Oh, big time. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
even close.
no,
His stretch of his offensive stretch is Beatty's never had a run like that um, at all, and in a much bigger sample size. So it's been nice to see Vientos up there, and he has a good eye. He doesn't really swing at a lot of crap. Um, he swings the bat well. Like he gets a good hack when he even if he strikes out, he usually gets a good hack in there, which
yeah,
I love to see. I hate when people are watching, you know, sweet pitches go by and then swinging at crap like Alonso does a lot of the times. Um, so it's been nice to see him really, really get his chance, and he's been taking full advantage. And if it wasn't already a done deal, I mean, it's a done deal now. I mean,
yeah,
he's earned himself he's earned himself a slump or two at this point because he's been that good on both sides of the ball.
yeah. And other than I guess deleting his, which I don't know if this means anything, but he apparently deleted once he got demoted or whatever before the season. He deleted the Mets from his social media. I mean, nowadays social media is so heavy. But other than that, I think he has been a pro. And I
Yeah,
think his coach down there said that he came down here and just said, "Hey, I'm here to play," and that I think means a lot from a young player. Just he takes his lumps, and when he gets called up again, he just puts his head down, just works. So I like that.
yeah. I mean, he did have a really emotional roller coaster type off season and spring training. He hit 6 home runs in spring training, and he's like, "All right, well, I definitely have to be the DH." And then, last week, pretty much they signed Martinez, so that has to have sucked for him. But because I did think he earned a spot out of the camp, but
Yeah,
he did what he had to do, crush it in the AAA, and now he's got his chance. And he's proven everyone wrong, which I like because everyone's saying, "Hey, you can't field, you can't do this and that," and he's done the complete opposite.
right.
Uh, so that's great to see. But someone else who has not been living up to any expectations whatsoever, Jose Quintana,
Oh, jeez.
terrible. He's terrible. I hate seeing him pitch.
Man.
He's like the top bottom three, bottom five starting pitchers in the league. He's
And,
horrible.
and technically, he's our ace, right?
He's he's
Yeah,
slotted number one in the depth chart.
yeah. By what do you call it? By process of elimination. And it does suck too. You brought that up, and then also I read the other day that it's definitely a done deal that we're not going to see Senga until second half. So great.
That's not surprising whatsoever. I think we said that in the in the first show right after he was sidelined. I think we said that he would. If the Mets are saying early June, then we won't see him until All Star
July.
break at
Right.
best,
Yeah.
and that's being
I mean,
looks like that's what it's going to be.
we're going to probably. I'm trying to read here our notes. We're probably going to definitely trade one of these pitchers anyway. So I guess it's a good thing that we're going to have him. I guess ready to go. 100%. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have luckily we have a number of people who can step in. Um, Honestly, I think we should either DFA Quintana, try to trade him, or move him to the bullpen. Maybe that'll help him a little bit to reacclimate, work on some things like Hauser has.
Oh,
But
he's so good in the bullpen. How is
he's
it,
so good. He's like a whole different person.
bro? Jesus,
It's crazy.
night and day.
Yeah.
Three,
So
2 3 innings guaranteed.
I think having him. I think having. I mean, why we might need two long men in the pen. I don't know. But having being able to bring up Christian Scott and Jose Budo, two guys who did really well in the majors, in their small chances. I think Budo's biggest issue was just walking batters, and Christian Scott, his issue was just, I think, settling in early.
Being young.
Yeah, which that was his first round in the big league. So I think this next time around, I think he will improve a lot, and he knows what to expect. And he's on a limited amount of innings, so I think we'll see him. I don't know. I feel like they got to make a move on Quintana. At what point do you? I mean, he's had back to back terrible starts. I think they'll give him one more start before they're like, all right, we got to make a move because we have two guys that deserve to be there just that need to be up here, I guess.
Who did he face? Because I remember like just a few starts ago,
Who?
he killed it. Quintana. Remember, didn't he
Oh,
have
Quintana. Yeah. Well, he had that eight inning. He had that eight
yeah
inning start.
against who? Because
Let me see
he probably
here.
was a product of just his schedule. Like he probably no, I mean he's been horrible, absolutely, but
No. Well, so this year over his last few starts, let's see here. Um, all right. So he had the terrible start, obviously against the Phillies. He went 3 2/3. Uh, and then he had 4 runs given up, or I'm sorry, 4 innings against the Arizona Diamondbacks, where he gave up 3 runs in 4 innings. And then the start before that, he went 6 innings, gave up 3 runs against the Dodgers.
that's what it was.
And then Cleveland, he pitched against the Indians or the Guardians, and he went 6 innings, gave up 3 runs. Um, that 8 inning start he had all the way back in April versus the Cardinals.
Oh damn!
So
They're
that was a
sorry.
long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he's only had like 3 quality starts this whole season. So which
That's
means
horrible. That's
three games where he went 6 innings or more and then gave up 3 runs or less.
and like you
So it's
said,
only
yeah, like you said in depth charts, if he's started as our ace or as our first, that's horrendous.
yeah. I mean his ERA is 5.29.
Jeez.
I think I read somewhere where that's like for pitchers who have gone over maybe 40 innings or something. I think he has he's in like bottom five with ERA.
What? Like,
So I think just because of his ability to not go more than not even he can't even make it out of the fifth inning or go through 5 innings. I think just because of that, I think they have to make
yeah,
a move because their bullpen can't keep up.
no, it's not sustainable.
Yeah, I mean we saw it this series, just in 2 game series. The Mets have had so many days off, and we're scratching to put these relievers together to
Yeah,
close out these games. I mean, and they had all this extra rest. They had extra players. They had all this extra stuff, and they still could barely close out these games.
right.
They burned through Reed, Garrett, Ottavino. Like they burned through their number one relievers, their 18 relievers, and they still barely got through it. So I think we'll see one more start out of Quintana, and then they'll probably make a change. I think because this year they've been quick to make moves, which I like.
I love that. Yeah.
We saw that with Jorge Lopez getting the boot for his
Oh
actions.
my, yeah,
And
that was
then we
embarrassing.
we saw who else we see it with? Well, Beatty getting sent down.
Yeah,
Um, we saw it with Narvaez getting DFA'd. So it's they're not willing to they're not scared to cut players regardless of the contract.
Yeah.
So I think Quintana is on the chopping block, and I think he's. I don't think he sees it. I don't see him being on this team in the starting role by the end of the month. Unless he really turns it around, which I don't see it happening. Um, I
Well,
can't see him being a starter.
I hope it does because they're going to trade him for something because he still, he still has weight to his name. Quintana, he's been in the league for so long. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? I met someone Saturday. I was up in Edison, which is kind of like, split territory with the sports teams. And he actually sat next to a Yankees fan that caught Lopez's glove.
Oh yeah.
He told me it was the most like wackiest, like emotional roller coaster game ever. He said he had no idea what was going on. When that glove was in the air, he was like, "Is this really happening? Is it really coming at me?" And a Yankee fan, grabbed it. Yeah, so it's wild. What that was embarrassing. I, that was such a
we
Mets thing to happen.
we had back to back worst loss ever, and then next game worst loss ever, and then
And then
another
that
worst
crap.
loss ever. It's like how does it get worse and worse?
And I was and me and you were supposed to be at that game, but we got rained out. It was me and Mies had some really good tickets for that Monday game, right? And we
Yeah.
got rained out, so we had to come back down to South Jersey. But that was a blessing because we would have probably went to one of those games. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. It seems like a long time ago.
yeah, right. Like
I'm trying to
eons
forget
ago.
it.
It was last week.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to forget that crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I think Quintana is on the chopping block, and then I think the next big one is DJ Stewart.
Yeah.
Shouts out to him for making that play
Yeah.
in right field, but
He almost died.
he lost that spark that he had at the plate.
Yeah.
Let's see,
I,
he's 1 for his last 15, 4 for his last 30,
Jesus.
and 9 for his last 54.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, bro. I know diapers are expensive, like you said, but yeah, I think he gone.
yeah, that's not good. If you're
Yeah.
batting 167 over the last month,
Jesus.
um, in a hitters, he's pretty much in a hitters only role.
Right.
Um, I can't see him lasting too much longer, especially when we have some decent minor leaguers that could fill in defensively and with similar offensive pop. A few guys doing really well. Trace Thompson, Clay Thompson's younger brother.
That's hilarious.
He's got 15 home runs in AAA right now,
Yeah.
41 RBIs.
Yeah.
Um,
Just don't date a Kardashian and he'll be all right.
yeah. um, well, I mean, he's got good pop, I think, and he plays good defense in the outfield. I could see him getting the call up. I think
Yeah.
he'd be a good. Why not? Bring him up while he's hot and he's hitting for power.
Is he big like his
Um,
brother?
no, no. I mean, he's not. He's not like he's. You remember him in the spring? He did well in the spring too.
I think so.
Um, I mean, what do you mean, like tall, big?
Yeah, because his brother's like Judge, so
Nah, well, no. So Thompson, he's like 6'3".
okay, that's it.
So I mean, he's still big, but
Big boy, yeah.
yeah, but
It's
he's not
Alonzo
6'7".
size. Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
he's not 6'7".
Yeah.
But I think he'd be my first choice to kind of replace DJ Stewart right now.
Good numbers, man.
Yeah, I mean, 15 home runs, 41 RBIs. That's I'll take that. Especially if you can plug in defensively, because then you can plug him in for Marte a little bit more often. Because Marte apparently has this knee injury or whatever.
Yeah, I was
Where
gonna
he,
say, yeah, I think yesterday or whatever, no, Saturday, I think that was a business decision, him not diving. I think it sums up. He sat before this series, remember, and we
yeah,
didn't know why that one day, and then we read that
yep,
it was a knee. So
yep,
I don't know, man. He probably was like, "Yo, I might get traded. Let me protect this knee."
yeah,
You know?
yeah. So I think he'd be good person to call up because DJ
Yeah.
Stewart can't. he can't play right field. I mean, he made that decent play, but I think he made that look harder than what it should have been.
Right.
Um, and then uh, there's a few other guys down there, mainly infielders, but Mike Brousseau, someone we picked up this year. He's got 7 home runs, 21 RBIs. He's batting over 300, 908 OPS. So he's doing really well. And then 2 players that people are looking at to replace McNeil, um, whether McNeil's DFA'd or traded, Luke Ritter and Rylan Bannon. Both of them been doing really well. Second baseman, primarily second baseman, but kind of utility guys. Luke Ritter has 12 home runs, 43 RBIs, and he has a 877 OPS. So I was wondering, like on Twitter, I was thinking because you see these numbers in AAA and they're kind of inflated.
Right.
Seems like Beatty goes down there, Vientos, they all crush it. I asked the question: how do you think McNeil would do in AAA? Like, what would his numbers be?
I mean, I think he would kill it, just like Beatty or Vientos do when they go down.
But power wise, like production
Power.
wise,
I think he has sneaky power. I think he's always shown that. Like, I mean, I don't know if it's a product of having or playing our in our stadium with that short porch, but I think he would kill it.
yeah.
So you would send him down to what, inflate numbers and then trade him for more prospects, or
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't think he would. I don't think he would get sent down. I think he would be traded before he was sent down.
can
So
he
I don't think.
refuse? Can he refuse an assignment?
Yeah,
He would. He would pull a freaking your boy Ali. He would pull Ali Perez and be like, no, I'm not going
yeah,
down. I don't know why.
yeah.
He gives me those vibes, you know.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah,
I fully agree with that.
yeah,
But I do think a team would try to pick him up before he
yeah,
even
100%. Yeah,
cleared to go down there. But
yeah. Hey,
uh,
how about Acuna? I don't know why.
nah, I don't think
No,
he's ready. Nah,
no.
nah, he hasn't been consistent enough down there. Like he started the year really really bad, and he just recently started turning it on. But I think a few other of these guys have shown more consistency and more pop. And I think Acuna, I don't know if it's now is the right time to bring him up.
Right.
I would say maybe later in the year when we quit, when the Mets are giving up.
Yeah,
But I think right now when they're still trying to win, I'd bring up someone who's been up there before. Trace Thompson, I think, is my number one
yeah,
to bring up for Stewart, and then I feel like I would probably call up Luke Ritter to replace uh, McNeil right now. But I'd really take any combo of those 4 guys
yeah,
because there's not much to lose. You bring in fresh blood, and then maybe they're hot the first couple weeks that they're up, and win you a couple games.
yeah,
Um, but what I like is that I do think Stearns looks at things like this, and I
yep,
do think he does stuff like that. Like I think he would make a move like that,
yeah,
and I don't think he'll let it go too much longer. Where Stewart is batting, less than 170, or less than 100, and it's going to keep putting him out there in situations to fail. So,
no,
um,
he sat him. Him being sat. I mean, be honest, and it's not just Mendy. He's getting that call from up top.
yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
I definitely think they talk about it a lot, and
yeah,
I think they're in full agreement that McNeil is not an everyday guy. And I do think with Marte injury kind of being wishy washy, I do think we'll see some moves coming up here shortly because you can't throw Stewart out there, and Tyrone Taylor is. I could see them putting him out there, but then I think they still need an extra guy
yeah.
to float around.
It's tough with Taylor because I mean, I think Bader, and you always say, when you mix and match the lineup and you take away playing time, you start seeing it, in production. And I think Bader was vocal about that too, about being sat down. But um, it's tough. They're both extremely good players, I think. Bader definitely, and he might be, moved too. So maybe then Taylor would have more consistency in the lineup. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's exciting. I think there's a lot to look forward to, especially if they make moves with some of the weaker links right now, mainly McNeil, Quintana, Stewart. Bring in some new guys that are doing pretty well. Maybe make a random trade like they did with Terens. Is always a possibility. So I think one of the most exciting thing about the team is that you never know what's going to happen in terms of the roster. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this next month. Yeah, the next month I think will pretty much bring us to the All Star break.
yep.
All Star breaks July 15th. I think I said the home run
Really?
derby.
Whoa,
Yeah,
got
July
pushed back.
15th. Yeah, I think that's the home run derby. Um,
Is Alonso doing it again?
I don't know.
See,
I don't think he announced it yet. Um, I'm sure he would do it again.
yeah.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
the
well,
July
why not?
15th is the home run derby. So our last game before that is the 14th against the Rockies at home. So
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, this next month, and the Mets have a lot of work to do um, in all facets of the game. Both the coaches have a lot of work to do. Front office has a lot of work to do. The players obviously have a lot of work to do. So uh, I'm excited, and I think the biggest thing I'm excited for is seeing McNeil be benched or traded. So uh,
yeah. It's happening, man. It's going to happen. Yeah, we're going to pretty much know what's going to happen second half these next few weeks. And I don't know why I'm again, like I said earlier, like a band-aid being ripped off. Let's just do it and see what what we have, because I think ultimately we kind of felt like in the bottom of our hearts that it was going to be a rebuilding year, and it's I think maybe mapping out to be that way. So we'll see.
yeah, so yeah, ride the hot wave, and hopefully we get hot, and
If
they can
not,
keep. If not, I'm just as excited for a sell off. Like I would be totally happy to see who we can get, even if it's not crazy big names or whatever. Because a lot of them would be minor leaguers or fringe major leaguers. Like whatever to help the team moving forward. I'm all for it. As long
yeah,
as they're moving, as long as they're getting rid of the old and starting new, I think is the most important thing.
right.
Um, but you got any other things you want to put in there?
All right, I think we covered pretty much what everyone's feeling up to this point, at least. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it from us today, Miserable Mets podcast, and hopefully, we start stringing some win streaks together, and we can actually put a nice, fair, honest push to see what this team is truly made of, and if they're not made of anything, then we'll start the bidding
Yeah,
early.
and me and Meese will be at the game this Saturday at the Marina lot. You want to swing by and say what's up? Um, we'll be there chilling. So
Marina lot, tailgating, Blackstone,
yeah,
crushing beers, and hopefully get in early to get a Hawaiian shirt.
it's
it
a tough ass shirt.
is, it is.
Yeah,
But all right, until next time, Miz and Damian, miserable Mets, and let's go Mets.
let's go Mets.